What do you think, looking back on that season, so last season, was one of the biggest misconceptions of the Indiana Fever? Like, maybe it was like locker room stuff. I feel like early on,
oh my
like,
gosh, there was so much locker room talk. Oh my gosh, her body language. She was not happy. She hates this entire squad.
The question that has been on everyone's mind has finally been answered. What does Aliyah Boston really think of Caitlin Clark? In a brand new bombshell interview on Sue Bird's iViews podcast, Boston opens up like never before, detailing everything from her initial candid reaction to seeing Caitlin in college to the reality of becoming teammates on the Indiana Fever. She gets into how their crucial relationship has grown and even reveals how she handled the devastating news of Clark's season-ending injury. And on top of all that, she spills some juicy locker room revelations that are now turning heads across the entire league. But let's be clear, this isn't just another feel-good chat. This is raw, it is real, and it is surprisingly hilarious. Show your support for Aliyah, Caitlin, and the entire Fever organization by commenting A, B, and C down below. Let's go.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't want to be here. This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Remember when Sheryl Swoopes tried to diminish Caitlin Clark? Well, Aliyah Boston just delivered the ultimate in-your-face rebuttal, a masterclass in respect that put Swoopes firmly in her place. This all came to light when Boston got brutally honest about the moment Caitlin Clark first arrived in Indiana, revealing that no one was more curious or more candid about their shared history. The two had previously faced off in one of the most iconic high-stakes Final Four matchups in recent memory, and Aliyah Boston did not forget the absolute clinic Caitlin put on that night. In fact, Boston openly admits she knew she had to confront the massive elephant in the room head-on, because as she so perfectly put it, dropping 40 points directly on someone's head isn't exactly the kind of thing you just ignore when you suddenly become teammates.
That year, I was like, I forgot, we were like doing something, we had something, I was like, hey, I just want to say, I'm like really upset that you like did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because like we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just had fun.
Yeah,
but after that, it was like cool because obviously now we're on the same team, so you don't worry about that. But I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we just went from competing against each other, you beating us, and now we're on the same team. Yeah. It's like, I was like, girl, it's okay. I get it. I'm not mad at you for real, but I am. Because like, why would you do that?
The natural question was, like, why would you do that? But instead of allowing that history to fester into tension, what emerged was something unexpectedly hilarious, refreshingly real, and profoundly authentic. Aliyah's completely unfiltered take on that iconic moment reveals everything about her grounded nature and just how seamlessly she was able to shift gears from a fierce competitor to a supportive collaborator. The mutual respect between the two wasn't just earned, it was instantaneous, and that immediate bond would become the foundational bedrock of their partnership, a connection that would only be forged and cemented once they finally hit the floor together.
Did the thing, made the joke, moved on. That's really what it is.
And then you kind of just move on. You're like, listen, we're on the same team now, so let's whoop some butt. Let's do it.
100%.
As the season progressively unfolded, their on-court chemistry blossomed into something so powerful it became completely impossible to ignore. Aliyah pulled back the curtain on what exactly makes their unique connection click, and as she explained, it goes far, far beyond the simple numbers in a box score. It is a partnership built on a foundation of profound trust, an almost telepathic intuition, and the innate unspoken understanding of when to roll, when to cut, or when to seal, all without ever needing to verbally call for the ball.
Well, you guys do complement each other. Yeah. And I hear you that it takes time, but like, what do you think it is about each of your games that works well? Like, mostly in the pick and roll. We'll talk pick and roll.
I think honestly, one, like Caitlin, the attention she gets, right? Like teams are like up. Like if they're under and dropped, that shot's going up. Because I'm going to set a good screen, that shot's going up, and she's getting it. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to step up. And she's just a phenomenal passer. Like, her angles, like, she knows exactly where to get it.
Caitlin Clark's unparalleled passing vision, Aliyah Boston's impeccable and powerful positioning, and their shared, almost symbiotic ability to read each other's intentions in real time have made them one of the most undeniably electric duos to watch in the entire league. And when Aliyah explains, with a level of granular detail, how she literally watches Caitlin's eyes to determine her own next move, you begin to realize that this isn't just about raw individual talent. This is a basketball IQ that operates on a completely different, almost rarefied plane, a level of understanding that is only going to continue to rise as they get more time together on the court.
The way she sees the floor, I think, is great. And then for me, it's always like, I'm always going to get in her pocket because I know that she's looking to pass that ball and she wants to get us in the best position. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at your eyes. So once I see your eyes, I'm there. You don't have to say anything. I'm going.
When Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever, it didn't just change the roster, it detonated the entire spotlight. Suddenly, every single play was being dissected under a national microscope, and the pressure wasn't just sky high, it became an atmospheric event. Aliyah Boston opened up about the sheer disorienting whirlwind that defined those first few weeks, a chaotic period of navigating a new offensive rhythm, wrestling with unfamiliar on-court dynamics, all while the entire world was demanding instant championship-level results. Instead of being granted the crucial time needed to gel, they were immediately and unfairly judged as a super team that was already failing right out of the gate.
The quote-unquote Caitlin Clark effect is definitely real. I think we all feel it in our unique ways.
No, 100%.
Yeah. How did you experience it? Like, I know early on you talked about logging off social media. Like, what did you just learn in that period of time? And by the way, the social media aspect is not Caitlin's fault.
No.
So it's like, but what did you learn just like in that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Caitlin. They love watching Caitlin.
Yeah.
And so I think that just brings so much eyes. And I think for our league, that's great. Like, that is great for us. You have so many people coming in, they're watching. Like I always say, like, they might come in for Caitlin and they leave and they're like, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her. Like,
you're seeing it
hear
in
so many
the
people say it. You
viewership.
hear, like, everyone says it. And I think you just kind of embrace that.
And the relentless, often toxic media frenzy certainly did not help matters. Every single missed on-court connection was immediately twisted into a grand conspiracy. Complete strangers online began to dissect their body language as if it were official game tape, looking for any hint of discord. For Aliyah Boston, it all finally reached a breaking point. As a player who already puts an immense amount of pressure on herself to perform, the very last thing she needed was an army of anonymous trolls questioning her chemistry with a teammate she was still just getting to know. So she made a decisive move for her own mental health. She logged off.
Well, a lot of it too can be people that are trolling. A lot of people that are talking. But for me, it's like, I am someone that already puts so much pressure on myself. And so for you to come in and tell me like, dang, you're like the worst person I've ever seen in my life. It's like, you know what? Hear me out. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
You can stay. I'm going to exit.
And yet, Aliyah Boston never once blamed Caitlin for any of it. In fact, it was quite the opposite. She consistently praised her for single-handedly elevating the entire league, openly welcoming the intense spotlight and the influx of new fans. What she did push back on, however, was the completely unrealistic and unfair expectation that two young, dynamic stars would somehow be able to click instantly. That is simply not how real, authentic chemistry works. And now that they have actually had the necessary time to grow together, the on-court results speak for themselves. But then, inevitably, came the drama, or at least the internet's manufactured version of it. Suddenly, whispers of locker room turmoil began to surface. There were rumors of beef, of bad blood, of the dreaded silent treatment. The fans and the media had collectively decided that they had it all figured out. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston was quite literally just waking up from a nap. That's right, she logged onto social media, saw the raging chaos, and all she could do was laugh with her teammates and ask, "Y'all good?" That is how real the so-called tension actually was.
Well, there's a lot of shit. What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay,
I don't know.
but just
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay,
it's a
turn. Right? It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well,
right.
Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody saw it.
Aliyah Boston makes it unequivocally and powerfully clear. Whatever fantastical stories were being spun out there in the digital world were nothing more than meaningless, distracting noise. And the actual truth? This Indiana Fever team was completely locked in. They were fiercely unified, and they were singularly focused on one collective goal: winning basketball games. The Fever didn't just protect the sanctity of their locker room from the outside world. More importantly, they protected each other. While the rest of the world was busy running wild with their own manufactured narratives, the players themselves stayed quiet and simply let their undeniable on-court chemistry do all of the talking.
Oh my gosh, there was so much locker room talk, and
everybody I talked to were like, we vibe, we're good.
I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so easy for people to just make all these assumptions. Some people are like, oh my gosh, her body language, she was not happy. She hates this entire squad. I don't know. Sometimes when you have a bad game personally, that takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It's 100%. Not that you don't like the team. It's not you, but that takes a toll on you. Every single night we come out, we want to play good. And so like all the time there were locker room talks. I forgot what was the conversation one time. I woke up from my nap, getting ready to go to pregame. People are like, oh, they hate each other. They hate each other. We walked in the locker room. We're like, girl, you good?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just woke up. I couldn't tell you what's happening right now. But all I know is we about to hoop. At 7 p.m., we got a game.
So to all of the internet detectives and the legions of couch coaches who thought they had cracked the case wide open, maybe next time, you should just sit this one out. Because what is actually brewing right now in Indiana isn't drama. It is a legitimate, terrifying problem for every other single team in this league. The Indiana Fever's return to the playoffs in 2024 was admittedly a short one, but for Aliyah Boston, it was anything but meaningless. She recalls that hard-fought series against the Connecticut Sun with a complex mixture of both profound pride and a lingering, gnawing frustration. We were this close, she remembers. Game 1 may have gotten away from them, but in Game 2 they were right there on the precipice of a breakthrough. As she explains, it was not a disparity in talent that ultimately separated the two teams. It was a disparity in experience. The seasoned veterans on the Connecticut roster simply knew how to manage the intense, suffocating atmosphere of the playoffs. They knew when to strike, and more importantly, they knew how to close. And that, Aliyah says, was the real, invaluable lesson.
I hate when people get into this whole talking about what they think our locker room is like and what they think. I'm like, first of all, you're not in here.
No.
So you have no idea. And also, we're professionals. So if we want you to see something, you'll happily see it. If we don't, I guarantee you, you would never know there's a single problem. Why? Because that's none of your business, and we have more priorities, and that's winning.
And what has stuck with her most from that entire experience wasn't just the pain of the loss itself, but the unshakable, lingering feeling that if they had just been able to push the series to a third and final game, back in the electric atmosphere of Indiana, the Fever absolutely could have taken it. That powerful belief, that profound sense that they were almost there, has now lit a raging fire within the entire organization. Because it is one thing to simply make the playoffs, it is a completely different and far more motivating feeling to leave with the distinct and bitter taste in your mouth that you didn't truly get your best shot. And that feeling is precisely what now fuels this brand new chapter for the Indiana Fever.
What did you learn from it?
It's like, we say it all the time in our season now, like margin of error is so small, but when you're going up against a squad that has vets that have been in playoffs, that have won, it's like they know exactly what to do. Did you feel a
jump in
there was a jump in intensity and energy.
Isn't it crazy?
It's insane. Like the very first game when we played against Connecticut, like it was close and then they kind of just they took it and they ran with it. And then the second game, it was like, we were right there. Like, we were right there. And then I feel like they're...
Now stepping into her pivotal third season, Aliyah Boston declares that the entire mindset has not just shifted, it has completely and irrevocably flipped. The era of sneaking up on people is over. The comfort of the underdog narrative has been permanently discarded, fortified by key offseason additions, guided by a new coaching staff, and operating under the relentless, supernova glare of the Caitlin Clark spotlight. The Indiana Fever are no longer hoping to win, they are now expected to win. That expectation brings with it a crushing new level of pressure, but it also forges a sharper, more defined sense of purpose. Every single night, they will have a target on their backs. Every team in this league is now officially gunning for them. And as Aliyah Boston makes perfectly clear, that is exactly how they want it. They wouldn't have it any other way.
Game, because honestly, I think if we had brought it back to Indy, we were gonna get it. No, we were, because we had just beat them at home. So it's still one of those that's like, dang, if we could have just gotten to that third game, I think we really would have came out and just went bananas. But I think it was a great experience for us. And obviously, like, this year now too, we're like, listen, playoff run, like we need that. You feel it now. You're like, I need more.
She approaches the future with a razor-sharp clarity, under no illusions about what it will take to succeed. For her, the path forward is built on a non-negotiable creed, chemistry, consistency, and an absolute refusal to entertain excuses. She acknowledges the inevitable gauntlet of injuries, lineup changes, and the deafening outside noise, not as setbacks, but simply as part of the game's brutal landscape. But make no mistake, the identity of this team has shifted. This season, the Indiana Fever are not just showing up to compete, they are arriving with the singular intention to dominate. And according to Aliyah, in what serves as a chilling warning shot to the rest of the WNBA, once they figure things out completely, it's going to get scary for everyone else.
It's a lot of change.
Yes.
You have a coaching change.
Yep.
You have it's a big free agency year for you guys. And really overnight, what that big free agency year was, or big change was expectations change.
Yes.
So you guys went from like this up and coming, where it's like you're getting to know each other, to now it's like, oh, they could win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what was the experience of essentially becoming like, instead of being the hunter, you're now the hunted?
Yeah, it's crazy, but I feel like it was definitely expected. Like,
the dream script for the Indiana Fever's 2025 season was torn to shreds long before the final chapter. What began with soaring, almost stratospheric expectations slammed into the brutal wall of reality. And that reality arrived in the form of a catastrophic wave of injuries, the most devastating of which sidelined their North Star, Caitlin Clark. For a young team still in the fragile process of forging its identity, losing such a foundational player mid-season should have been the final, fatal blow. It should have unraveled everything. But according to Aliyah Boston, this team is built differently. This team doesn't flinch.
But then you added in Caitlin, right? And everybody's like, oh, like they're gonna be this, this, and this. And now everybody's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna prove you wrong. Like, hell no. Like, that's not what it is. And then this year too, obviously we go in the free agency and everybody's like, yeah, like they got, for us, we always think like you have to approach every season with like, we're winning this whole season. So that was our mindset. And I think when you look at expectations, once again, expectations come from everyone outside. Cause like in our circle, we know exactly what we want to do. We also understand that it's a process. We understand that new faces, new coaches, like different style play for people joining us. It's like people need time to figure it out once again. But when you do figure it out, it's going to be scary.
She explains that from the very first day of the season, a singular non-negotiable message was established as their creed: next woman up. In their culture, injuries are accepted as an inevitability, but excuses are treated as an absolute impossibility. This expectation, she explains, extends to every single player on the roster. Whether it's a superstar starter or a role player at the end of the bench, everyone is held to the same standard. Be ready to step in and contribute. And that powerful mindset, she insists, has been the foundational pillar of their remarkable ability to compete fiercely, night in and night out, even while missing so many of their most critical pieces.
It's definitely been a struggle, but I think just at the start of the season too, like, you know, you have your start of the season meetings and you're talking, and for us it was about, listen, like no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up. And you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you know, you sign people and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like the games still keep coming. Like you still have to be ready to compete.
Still, losing Caitlin Clark was never just about losing a single playmaker. It fundamentally and seismically shifted the entire flow of their offense. Aliyah Boston articulated just how profoundly different it feels playing both with and without Caitlin on the floor. When she is out there, she explained, you are in a state of constant heightened alert. The ball moves with a different velocity. The tempo doesn't just increase, it spikes, and entire opposing defenses are forced to stretch and contort themselves to account for her presence. Aliyah then said it best, summing up the entire experience in 5 simple words: when Caitlin's playing, be ready to run.
Curious, specific to Caitlin being on the floor, off the floor, and I saw you talk on your own podcast about like the spacing and how different it is. But when you're entering a game, like your mental prep, how does it change? Because it's two different systems essentially.
It is.
Without Clark's gravitational pull, the Fever were forced to pivot to a more methodical half-court execution, a tactical shift that involved working through multiple options and strategically forcing teams to defend deeper and deeper into the shot clock. Aliyah is quick to point out that this isn't a matter of being better or worse, it's simply a different weapon for a different war. And learning to not just survive, but to thrive in both of these distinct systems has ultimately made the Fever a far more adaptable and dangerous team. In fact, Aliyah Boston credits this hard-won flexibility as one of their single greatest strengths, an invaluable asset forged in the fires of what has been an otherwise rocky and turbulent season.
Honestly, like when C is on the floor, I'm like, listen, be ready to run. Be ready to get out. Be ready because she's looking.
Yeah,
she's looking.
going.
She wants to play fast.
Yeah.
Super early in the offense. And like, we do that too as well here. But I think sometimes too now without her, like we can get into like a little more half court execution, make the defenses work a little bit harder, first side, second side, third side. And then I think when you have like Kelsey, when Kelsey's playing in transition, get that ball up to her and make her
I've never seen anybody so bouncy.
Like she is unbelievable.
And
then when you put her
shoes?
In screens, it's like, what do you do?
Bouncing all over.
She is moving. She's making the right read. And it's like, listen, and she's scoring the ball at a very high level.
But let's be unequivocally clear, the emotional toll of Clark's absence hasn't been easy either. Aliyah candidly acknowledged the profound difficulty of seeing a teammate go down, especially someone as fiercely competitive and deeply invested as Caitlyn. But in that same breath, she also knows with absolute certainty that Caitlyn will be back, and that knowledge has forged an even deeper resolve within this team to keep fighting. Every single win they managed to scrap together now is not just for the current standings, it is a down payment on their postseason potential, one crucial step closer to being fully playoff ready for the moment she returns. So what has been the antidote to this storm of adversity? The answer in a word is veteran leadership. Aliyah was quick to point out how a core group of players, Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and in her words, especially Sydney Colson, have become the essential glue holding everything together. Whether it is their ability to calm frayed nerves in a tense huddle, their instinct for setting the right tone in practice, or even just cracking the perfect joke at the perfect time to break the tension, these veterans have been absolutely instrumental in keeping the locker room both focused and remarkably upbeat against all odds.
When she's on the floor, like she's looking to get up, people can be like, listen, I don't need to outlet because I know once we rebound, we're getting it up. But I also think it, once again, it's like puts people on their toes because they're like, whoa, I need to find Kelsey in transition. I need to find Ari now. Like we got to find Sophie and Lexi knocking down threes. Like it's different, but I think everyone is once again finding their own rhythm, and that we just did a great job of like putting it all together.
To illustrate this point, Aliyah even shared a powerful behind-the-scenes story about Sydney Colson, a player often seen by the public as the team's lighthearted comedic spirit. She revealed that Colson possesses a whole other side that is reserved for the locker room. She intuitively knows exactly when to speak up, how to pull a teammate aside for a quiet word, and precisely what to say to get their mindset locked back in. That kind of innate situational leadership, Aliyah insists, is something that simply cannot be taught, it can only be felt. And in a season that has been defined by chaos, that feeling has been absolutely everything.
What impact has having more vets on the team? Because that's a little different from your first 2 years.
Yeah, no, seriously, I think it's been great. Seriously, it's been a blessing for me. It's crazy. We were just talking to Sid about this on the plane ride over here, and I was like, listen, like, it's great to have you guys because, like, we're young players, and like sometimes we still have that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I need to be perfect, like I need to, and having vets like Tosh and Sid, like honestly, like I know everyone thinks Sid like the comedic person, like so funny, but I think getting to know Sid and who she is, she's like the best person for any locker room and for our locker room. Like,
so while the 2025 season may have started as a challenge, the Indiana Fever have masterfully transformed it into a crucible, a crash course in pure, unadulterated resilience. They are learning how to win ugly, how to adapt on the fly, and how to trust each other under immense pressure. And with every single injury and every forced adjustment, they are forging something stronger, something more durable. Because the truth is, once this team is finally healthy and whole again, that brutal early season adversity might just be the best thing that ever happened to them. And now, here we are, the Fever locked in a ferocious battle with the juggernaut Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA semifinals, where every single game feels like an absolute dogfight. The series is now shifting back to Indiana, and the energy in that city is razor sharp. What makes this moment even more stunning, the fact that Indiana is doing all of this while battling through catastrophic injuries to 6 key players. The odds seemed insurmountably stacked against them, but rather than folding, they have leaned directly into the chaos. And at the center of it all stands Aliyah Boston. In the powerful words of head coach Stephanie White, she has been the team's rock, perfectly walking that fine line between a fierce competitor and a stabilizing emotional anchor, showing the entire league what happens when a team absolutely refuses to let adversity define them. As this series returns to Indiana, they're not just fighting for a win, they are fighting for a statement. The Indiana Fever may be battered, but they are never ever beaten. Let's be clear, Aliyah Boston didn't just show up this season, she leveled up, she ascended. Through a gauntlet of injuries, manufactured media storms, and sky-high expectations, she has remained the unshakable anchor of a team that simply refuses to break. And alongside Caitlin Clark and the rest of this resilient Fever squad, they have turned doubt into fuel and adversity into their core identity. The Indiana Fever are here. They are for real, and they are not done yet. So if you've been sleeping on them, now is the time to wake up, because the best is still to come. We want to hear from the Fever faithful. Comment A, B, and CC to show your support for Aliyah, Caitlin, and the entire Fever organization. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.